Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dirt Grain Steel. So, on today's episode, Dad's Strength and I and Dad, he's right there, are going to start tearing the 2940 apart. When I was picking ear corn with it, it started leaking out of the axle seal profusely. You can see everything it collected on the inside of the rim, and it was pretty bad. It was going down the road, it was throwing oil off the tire and everything else. So we decided that we're going to pull it in the shop, or we already pulled it in the shop, I should say, and we're going to pull this whole axle housing off and get that axle out and get a new seal in it. Not sure if we're going to do the seal. We might take it to our John Deere dealer. We're going to see what it's like when we get in there. The book's got a pretty good explanation of it, but we'll see what it's like when we get in there. So what we need to do is we need to pull the tire, rim, and hub all off. The fender's got to come off. The parking brake lever bracket's all got to come off, and I believe that battery box is going to have to come off. So we've got the tractor jacked up, and we're going to start getting this hub off out of the way, get it slid off the axle. And these tires, we believe, are not fluid filled, so they should be pretty easy to handle. If not, we'll bring the Bobcat in here. So Dad's got the impact, so we're going to start tearing it apart. So in order to get these hubs off, you have to loosen these three big bolts right here, and then you have to come on the back side and you have to loosen these three bolts here, and then you thread or tighten these two bolts in. I was going to say thread in, but tighten them two in, and it shoves the wedge back, and that releases the tension of the hub on the axle. So now we should be able to turn the well, maybe there it goes. Needs a little Dad, that's not lube. That's Old Rusty's pressurized solvent in a can. Here, we need to, there, that's better. Yeah. Sorry, that's the Rapid Solve. This is good stuff though, by the way. It's like brake cleaner. So now we're going to run that off the axle, and Dad's Strength's going to roll it out of the way. I'll probably have to help him. We got the wheel off out of the way. Dad's Strength and I got it worked off the axle. We had to lower it down just a little bit because it was still kind of hanging on top of the axle. And once we did that, we got it slid out and rolled away. We did realize that tire's got fluid in it, so it was a little heavy. Now what we're going to do is, luckily, the wiring harness, original wiring, is still intact on this, or somebody done this at one time. They put an RV style flat trailer plug in here. So make life a little easier to get the fenders on and off. So now we're going to get these nuts off, and that'll release the fender bracket from our axle housing, and we'll get that picked off and get it out of the way, and then we'll continue on. It looks like we can do that parking brake bracket next, and then we'll have to figure out our battery box here. So I'm gonna go grab a socket and get them buzzed off. So I got me an 1/8" socket. Well, I already started taking that one off, so we weren't having a long video. So I had to use a 1/2" drag ratchet to do this. This snap-on ratchet, I'll tell you what, this thing's been the biggest turd I've ever owned, I think. It'll lock up once in a while. This is broke. This should lock. Was supposed to be getting a new one because supposedly Snap-on had a bad batch of 1/2" drag ratchets, and I ended up with one. Well, I've yet to see that, and that's been what? Almost a year. Almost a year now. Need to find a good Snap-on guy for this area, or just quit buying Snap-on tools. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other tool brands out there that are just as good anymore. So now we can take this fender off. Well, fender's off out of the way. Now we'll get the rest off. Now we're going to take the quadrant off for the parking brake lever. Quadrant, okay. It's not just an ordinary bracket.
That's the old quadrant.
Oh! Oh, there's spacers behind here too. That's not going to pull up any farther than it is now. So we'll throw this, I'm going to put this up here out of the way. Put it behind the battery, just so it don't fall in the battery post and short them out, catch the tractor on fire. It's a possibility. Anything's possible in here. And we got 2 more bolts down here that need to go. They also have spacers behind them. And the battery's got to be taken out of the battery box. The battery box has to be taken off. So that's next. We're going to go ahead and take part of this battery box apart. You don't necessarily have to do this, but we want to fix this rust down here. It's a common problem with these. They get dirt and stuff down and around them, and they don't get cleaned out. The next thing you know, they're rusty, and battery acid and shit gets in them. And
There's one right here.
right here.
Yeah. And there's one up in here for the speed impact.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one broke off already. No, it didn't.
And there must be one more.
Yeah, there's that one right there.
Not that one.
One more further back.
Yeah.
One. Right here.
There's one right here.
Oh yeah, there's one right there. Oh, wait, there's a spring on the clutch pedal. Damn. We probably should have disconnected that. There you go.
We're probably jumping everything down.
Oh, I think it's okay. Oh, that plugs in right there. We could probably take that off if we wanted to. There we go. That just pokes in there.
I just leave it hanging.
Yeah, just leave it hang. Okay, now we gotta take that little line right there off, and then we can take that axle housing off. We got us a strap and wrapped it around the axle housing, and we got it to the cherry picker. And I went ahead and took all the bolts out except 2. That way, make the video a little shorter. So we left the bolt over here. What is the deal with that? We got us a strap wrapped around that axle housing because they are heavy, and we've got it on the cherry picker. So I took all the bolts out except two, just to speed things up a little bit. I'm going to take them out. One down here. One over here. You ready? It should just fall off. There we go. We got all our bolts out. Okay. Let's see what we can do with it now. It's got some dowel pins on it. It's not. That's not a bolt. That's just a plug. Okay, we're going to have to pry this off somehow. There are dowel pins in there, so we're going to take a little Tikes hammer and loosen it up a little bit. Oh, it didn't come apart, but I wanted it to. That's good. Easy. It's got a little bit of oil in it. Caught most of it. Not bad. Okay. You know,
Leave that inside section.
yeah, leave the inside section.
Pull straight back.
Still have to flip up.
Oh, you got the gears and all.
Oh.
They're in those ones.
Well, I think them come out with it.
Shouldn't nothing fall. They're all in a carriage, right?
Yeah, they're all in the carriage. No, I think they come with it. I'm pretty sure they go with it.
Go up a little bit. There, hang on. Up a little more. Okay, back up.
There we go. It's off the tractor. Now that we got it off the tractor, we've held it up. We got to get that bolt out. Oh, I can't just. Got to get that bolt out, and then we'll be able to take this whole carrier off, and then we'll be able to take that axle out. Now we're ready to pull the axle out of the axle housing. We got the planetary pack off. We got the bolt out, laid it on the floor, slid it out because it's kind of heavy. So just slid it out and let it sit down on the floor, and instead of trying to pick it up from right here. So now we're going to get this axle slid out. Well, I was going to video this part, but it all happened so fast that I didn't have the camera set up. So all we had to do was take little Tikes hammer, give it 2 good hits on the end of the axle shaft, and it slid right out and hit the floor. So I did want to video this part, but it's just as simple as just driving the axle out. And then they say in the book just to remove the bearing cone out of the race. And there's a seal there, and there's a seal out there we have to replace, and then we can put it back together, I think. We should check them bearings, though, while they have it apart.
Yeah.
This one looks all right. There's no flaking. That one didn't hit the floor either. The seal caught it, so I think we're good. But we'll check it over really good. We're going to take the outer bearing off now. We got a big piece of pipe that fits over perfect, catches the seal. We're just going to use it like a slide hammer to drive that off. And there we go. Bearings are all off. Now we'll clean this axle up real good and inspect the bearings and bearing races in the axle housing, and we should be able to put it back together. So far everything looks really good.
Bye-bye.
Why'd you say bye-bye? We're not done yet. Now we have our axle casting up where we can work on it and see it real good, and we're going to change this out, the wear ring for the seal. As you can see, it's really wore into there, so we're going to put a new one in there. And do you have the new seal with us? Where's the new seal? Oh, it's laying over there still. So I guess it don't matter right now. But we're going to get this popped out of here and get this new one put in, and we'll put the new seal in.
Make sure you tighten your pants up good.
So we're reinserting our wear ring now. We got a little Tykes hammer and a press plate, and driving it right down in there nice and flush. Perfect, it's in. We're good. So we're gonna make sure our bearing race looks good. Bearing looks nice, rolls in there real nice, smooth. So now we're gonna flip this over, and we gotta put this is the old seal, but we gotta put this seal down in there. So we're gonna flip it over and get it in. So our inner seal is in, and this is a seal that actually holds the hydraulic oil in the transmission and keeps it from coming out, the axle seal on the outside. So this one was the issue to begin with. So this was an updated seal. It's rubber all the way around the outside also. And I just took a screwdriver and put it in here and then tapped on it with a hammer all the way around and knocked that seal back in. Because it's kind of a odd way to put a seal in, because the face is down right now instead of being able to beat on a face to put it in. So Dad's putting a wear ring on the inside of the outer axle seal, and once we get that, we can basically put the axle back in, and then we'll put the planetary back on with the bolt in it. So don't tell Mom, but we stole her fryer out of the house. We're going to use it to get the bearings hot to slide them back on this axle shaft for the 29. So we'll clean it up and bring it back to her when we're done. But this will make the bearing expand, and get her good and hot in here. I think we set it on 350 or 400 and get that bearing hot, and it should drop right on that axle shaft, and when it cools, it'll be perfectly stuck on there. We got the bearing in the oil, and we're at 98 degrees so far. We're going to take it up to 400. I'm not sure the flash point of hydraulic oil, but this will be interesting. Hopefully you won't get it too hot and catches on fire, but I doubt we will.
Don't have a fire extinguisher handy.
Yeah, we do. There's one hanging right over there on the wall. Dad just installed it this weekend.
There's one below it too.
So we're safe.
I like how we made a joke about frying a turkey, and now we're not.
We're frying a bearing. This will be just as good as the turkey was. Guarantee it. Okay, let's get this bearing out. See if it works. Should work. There it goes. Now we'll let it cool, and it will contract, and then we can put that back in the axle housing, and we'll do the same thing with the other bearing. That's gonna have to cool a while though first. Since it cooled off now, it's sucked tight to that axle, it doesn't move, and I took a needle greaser and I actually put some grease in there to prevent dry starts. So once we get it back together, we'll go ahead and put it back on the tractor and we'll pump some more in it, but I just wanted to make sure that it had some in it right now so that it didn't even have a chance of being dry. So we're gonna figure out how to get this back in there and hold it all up while we put this bearing back on. So we're gonna try to figure something out here real quick to make it life easy. Okay, we're gonna prepare to put this axle housing back over this axle. I put some grease here for when that seal slides on there, and we need to put a little grease where the rear ring is in this end. Smear that around.
Get some in that race.
I'm working on it.
Faster if you stand it.
I don't want to make this into a very long video.
Too late.
Okay, that's good.
Our stew's almost done over there.
The thingy's off again. They probably warmed back up to 400 again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That
you
was the
ready?
idea. Yep.
A little tight hammer out of the way. So flip it out. Oh, yeah, that way.
Right.
Yep. There we go. That's it. That's it. It's in. Okay, now we put our bearing on. Well, we need to check the temperature, make sure we're good and hot. Where'd my temperature gun go?
Over there.
Over on the bench. Back up to what we were before.
7,000.
It's not 7,000 degrees. Okay, you ready? Oh, I didn't put my gloves on this time.
You'll be alright.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta make the pliers a little smaller. There we go. Okay, we all ready?
Yep.
Yep, you're ready. That one fell right where it belongs.
That's it.
Okay, leave that set, let it cool off, we'll check it, make sure it retracted back on the axle, and then we can throw that planetary pack back on, and it's torque her down, and it's done.
In the end, can you do her?
Okay, so Dad's Strength's going to place the planetary pack back into the axle housing.
Fingers. Fingers. Okay.
Yep.
Pick it up.
Kind of a heavy chunk.
There's just not enough room in there for your fingers. That's
Yeah, I should have left a cutout for your fingers.
all. Oh, there is one in here.
Oh yeah,
It'll fit perfectly right there.
just one finger, and smash the rest
So that
off.
one that was smashed.
Yeah. Okay, so all we gotta do is put the bolt back in,
Torque it down.
torque it down, and
Ta-da.
yeah, so Dad's going to get the bolt. So now we have everything fully assembled, so I'm going to take you over to the book and I'm going to show you how we need to torque this. According to the book, we need 12 foot-pounds of rolling resistance. So what we're going to do is we have one of these beam-style torque wrenches. We're going to put that on our center bolt, and we're going to pull that until we have 12 pounds of rolling resistance torque on the axle shaft itself. So Dad's Strength's got the torque wrench over here, and we're going to do this. We've got this set up so the casting is suspended and the axle is off the floor. And he's just going to get that tightened up until we have 12 foot-pounds of rolling resistance. And then we will drop the keeper back over the bolt, and the bolt cannot turn then, because once this all slides in, this shaft right here pushes on the keeper and holds the keeper over the bolt, so it can't fall off. You got her where you want her?
Yep.
Okay. So it's done. It's got 12 foot-pounds of rolling resistance, just like the book says. So we're out of time for today, but tomorrow we are going to put this back together in the morning, and there's a few other things we're going to do, like fix that battery box and do a few other small things to the tractor, then we're going to fully service it. So if you like this episode of Dirt Grain Steel and you found it educational, let me know in the comments, and we'll keep doing these videos. We'll probably keep doing them anyways. But thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. So we will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.